as a field application engineer, I switched over to the design engineer. That it took 1 year, literally the hard grind. Every day you take a test. So if you don't, that fleet is very important. If you don't nurture it, if you don't train it, if you don't take it confidence, and if they don't have confidence in you, then the product is not possible to. And the skill of the doctor is very important. Sometimes doctor sees the ECG. Education is just not degrees. Education is about what you are taught and your values get generated from them. They have achieved, they've not achieved in terms of, but they've achieved so much of wisdom in life.
Hi everyone, welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation, and I am Smith, your anchor for today, uncovering some great achievements and contributions of unsung heroes and inspiring the lives of others. So we have one such industry giant on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr Tirathprasad Nagvekar. Thank you so much for joining us. So, as the founder, he is currently serving as the managing director of ADEC Embedded Technology and Solutions Private Limited and also of IMMERSA Logic Private Limited, instrumentalizing the design and development of electronic scientific instruments used in material science research, particularly in the fields of solid-state physics and solid-state chemistry, and now extending the horizon to commercial arenas like marking, coding printers, and healthcare solutions using AI and machine learning on hardware platforms. Thank you so much for joining us. And should we just start with the questions that we have in store for you today? So, sir, it's going to be a very insightful talk today, especially because you've served in some of the niche product manufacturing processes like high temperature AC susceptibility instruments, digital thermal analyzers, and thermo-electric power devices. And now you're also diversifying into commercial and healthcare products. That's super amazing. What are some of your early life inspirations and some daily motivations in your field? And really curious to know that how have they helped you throughout your career journey?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. First and foremost, let me tell you, my education journey has been very, I'm happy about the way it has gone by. I'm a graduate of physics and I did MSc in electronics. And after that, I did MBA after some time of working in all, obviously. So as a physics graduate, while we are doing all the processes and everything, every time I had that particular thing in mind, whether this can be automated, can we go one step further into more micro adjustment and all. That is how all the things started. Predominantly from childhood, I have been, I would say, more and more interested to watch science fiction movies. I've watched Return of Jedi before I was 6 times, I guess. So that is how it has been. And people now use Android as a OS. I remember 1982, there was a movie called Android. This is how it goes out. So basically what happens is when you are doing an education platform and then you want to pursue your career into it, many people say, no, you should become a faculty or something like that. Even though I did MSc, I was never interested to become faculty because I knew my temperament is not into teaching. So I went into, I will develop products. And my parents have been very helpful in that. I developed simple things like running lights, everything. And that is how I started getting experience into those particular matters, getting what mistakes are we committed, repairing appliances at home. And it all started from there. And then once we start working into companies, let me tell you, as an MSc, I was not getting a chance into design. And when you don't get chance into design, you have that particular thing that you will one day you will hit a goal, you will fire a bullet or something happened. And then one spark, one particular moment right on field, it came, can you do this? And I did that. And from that onwards, as a field application engineer, I switched over to the design engineer. And that is how everything, then it's just like, okay, you develop one product, second product, third product, and it went on. So in my journey from the education to this thing, there has been always a connect because as initially I was working for companies who have been into education field only. Again, when I used to go there, I have to see that in research area lab, I have to see people are working with 6-7 units, and only in the 6-7 units you can section of each unit. Then when I started my entrepreneurial journey and I went back to my university and they said, see, if you want this particular product, we can develop this product. And one faculty finally agreed on it, let us have it. And that is how it actually broke the ice. And that is, because it's very important. See, when you are tackling, my products are actually competing with the international products. There are companies in India who are developing the products, but my combined products are actually competing international products. How? Because I have developed only one particular part, that I'll make the performance and specifications at par of what is the international requirement is. Because when you get, see, important is an instrument gets its particular certification by or endorsement by a user when his or her paper gets published in a scientific journal, quoting on which instrument the results are taken, and that has happened. And that has really had that, and that is the achievement of my lifetime, I would say. Yes, this many people have completed PhD using my instruments, and they have quoted that we have taken the results onto this particular ADEC embedded instrument, and that is how this has gone with the future. So this is the, so when I tell anybody that see, innovation is dealt day in, day out. It cannot be done that you want to do innovation, sit on innovation. You see around, and then you come to know, okay, we can do some change. And that is very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's lovely to see how passionate you're sounding about, your work. And I think that's super important.
When it comes to commercial arenas, I tell you, I work for a company who was working into marking coding printers. And now we are developing marking coding printers. What are marking coding printers? Just we put an inside. See, we on the packaging and bottle and everything, we see when it is marked, when it is batch number and packed and by use by anything. These are called marking coding printers. There are different types. There are ink-based, cartridge-based, like that. There are laser code. So we are actually developing right from the scratch of the concept to the final product, those type of printers in here. Secondly, about a healthcare product, I'm studying, which is my personal pet project, I can say. I'm studying abnormalities of the heart. And I want to study it only by the stethoscope. Because when a patient goes to the doctor, the first thing the doctor uses is stethoscope.
So you're developing a stethoscope which can figure out the abnormalities of the heart?
Yes, and that is going to have AI or ML hardware platform into it. It's like a mouse. It will be like just like a mouse.
Oh wow!
And then if the patient has it at home, then he can put on it and he can communicate direct to doctor. Doctor can tell, okay, you are having this particular problem now. It is maybe just a tense, maybe palpitations. What you should do at that particular moment, because at that brief moment, if the patient gets help, then you can obviously save life.
So we don't, as a patient, we don't really necessarily have to visit a doctor. We can do this sitting
at home. Yes.
That's super amazing.
Preemptive care can be taken. Doctors obviously needed preemptive care at that moment. What to do?
Correct.
So and even if you have a patient at home, you have a patient at home. Sorry to break you. So you have a patient at home, or actually old age patient, and you don't know. Obviously, the critical condition. You put a device to it, and the device records all the body parameters and communicates to the doctor as well as to you. There is some change happening which are above the critical limits. It will put an alarm to you and to the doctor at maybe at midnight or whatever. You may be outside wherever, and then preemptive care can be taken. And we are embarking it in pure made in India background. Let me be very clear. It is a pure made in India platform here, because I don't want that I buy a sub-assembly or assembly from outside, fit it into my box and sell it. No, we are not into that at all. We are not. Because I want to compare. This is a product you buy. A cost is the product. We developed it. It's a B cost. We give you service. What you want, you take.
Very curious to also know that, now you've reached up to the level of Managing Director of ADEC Solutions, Embedded Technology and Solutions and IMMERSA Logic. Can you also tell us about some of the most challenging projects that you've handled?
Yes. In one of the companies where I was working, the data had come from the international client. And we had that particular thing that we needed to develop the product for them. The data was there. And the product what we developed, the data we found was 10 years old. And existing components were not there. So now we had to literally scratch our heads to what is the existing compatible component to that. But we did it. That was the first thing when I was working for a previous time. When I was working when I started with my own, It took me 1 year to get the first output of the product. The first output that is acceptable by the people. Okay, this sounds like music for 2 years. This particular graph is correct. That it took 1 year, literally the hard grind. Every day you take a test, you know this is not working correctly. You can redesign every time, 365 days. The department of that university is like my second home. I tell everybody, if I'm not found anywhere, I should be found there. It is like that. So it is very important that perseverance, consistency, and having confidence in your own self.
Yeah.
Extremely, extremely, extremely important. This too. After that, obviously, and let me tell you, no product is easy. It may be just a laser pen, which we see. It may be just a LED light, which we see. It may be a medical device that we see. It may be a commercial product. It may be anything. No product is easy. Every product has its own difficulties, has its own challenges. And the field of design and development, in software or in hardware, it always happens that the most easiest things and the most logical things are the most toughest things to achieve.
Yeah.
It is too very simple, but it's not possible like that.
I think anything that looks very simple on the outset has so much of hard work that's gone
Correct.
behind that product, which is actually making it so easy for us to use.
Correct.
Like on their interface, operating an Uber app is the easiest, but
Yes.
everything that goes at the back end.
The back end. The back end is very important. That's why I always talk to people that you should always respect the brain behind it.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't respect the brain behind it, you will never admire the effort that has gone into it.
Correct.
And it is not a one-person job; it's a team. I tell you, I tell you, basically, if you watch war movies and if the war is won not by the generals, the war is actually won by the soldiers on the front. The generals and the colonels are in the offices. Do this, do that. But who is actually applying the brains? What is to be done? How it is to be done? What is to be done is told. How? It's done by the worker. So if you don't, that fleet is very important. If you don't nurture it, if you don't train it, if you don't take it confidence, and if they don't have confidence in you, then the product is not possible to.
Definitely like to know more about the kind of products that you have developed though. And I'm sure that all your efforts in project management, it can have transformative impact on students and professionals in this field. So what are the kind of products that you have developed and what is the significance of those kind of products?
Yes. The first particular, see, there are these two companies, ADEC Embedded Technology Solutions Private Limited, focuses predominantly and primarily into scientific instruments that are used for research and postgraduate studies and postdoctoral studies of solid-state physics, solid-state chemistry. So let me tell you what is all this. It looks like a gray area, but like very simple words I'll tell you. You have seen any SLPS in your particular, or you have seen a transformer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have seen now your mobile chargers, they are lightweight, correct?
Correct.
Now, those mobile chargers are also having a transformer, the ferrite core transformer. That is solid state physics, solid state chemistry. Okay. Now, there are electrical properties to be studied. There are magnetic properties to be studied because ferrites are both types, magnetic as well as non-magnetic. But as temperature increases, they become from paramagnetic to paramagnetic. So that is the basic thing. So from magnetic to non-magnetic. So these products are basically studying the magnetic property of that particular material, the electrical property of that material, and the transient property of that material. So if it is a transformer, it should, and it be some actually going to a particular area where temperature is going to increase, it should still act as a transformer. Its material property shouldn't fall. So that is where all this experimentation is undertaken. The second area that it comes down to is the IMMERSA logic, is the marking coding printers. I've already told you that different types of printers. You have seen on a box, there are large dots. Initially, what happens used to happen, we have to have stencils.
Yeah.
So they print it on using the like a paintbrush and print it. Now it's not like that. On the conveyor it goes and it flats it. So it prints it. When it is packed, what is the weight of that? If the weighing balance is correct.
What exactly are you printing with marking coding printers?
Marking coding printers prints the when was it packed? What was the weight? The 2D QR code.
Okay.
Okay, everything. And the 2D QR code should be legible. If you take your mobile phone and take a Google Lens, and you should be able to see all the information in that. So suppose everything is wiped off, but 2D QR code has that information. When was it packed?
Correct.
Because that is automated. You cannot fudge with it. You cannot play with around with it. Then there are cartridge-based printers. Then there are the ink tank-based printers. There are valve-based printers. There are high-resolution printers, and there are laser coders. So these are different type of printers. The laser marking and this is called marking and coding printers. And there are around 10 companies, 10, 15 companies here. But most of them I have seen, they either get it from outside, they trade it. So trading, and I have always been talking about why can't we make it here?
Yeah.
So that was no, I'll make it here. Yes, it has been a hard grind because see, the market is so, I won't say saturated.
Yeah.
In the 150 crore people of India, whole of the world want to sell something to this country, but we want to sell something outside. I said I'll sell something within the country only first, and if I achieve it, I'll be able to sell outside. Because I tell you, if I can sell a product within my home, then obviously I can tell people outside, see, within my house, we are using this.
Correct. These are used across industries?
Yes. Packaging, see, everywhere where packaging is needed.
Yeah.
Everywhere where packaging is needed, you need that. But the basic problem when it is traded, if something goes wrong, subject to conditions, the environment conditions, maybe power conditions or whatever, it be adding to an e-waste because they cannot be repaired.
Oh.
And that is where repairability option comes into picture. If we design develop it here,
sure.
Okay, this component has gone bad, you just replace the component and matter done. You don't need to completely throw it away unless it has actually got flame to that particular board. You can't do anything.
Nice. Very.
So that's it. Third thing is that I told you about a healthcare product. This is as I said, it's a pet project. I want to make it happen. There are people nowadays at the age of 28. My own friend actually expired by just a cardiac arrest. He was a doctor himself. Yeah. So that thing came on ringing again. Why? There are so many gyms that's happening. So if that something is happening, we have South Indian famous actor who went to the gym. He was fit and fine, and he died on the way to the hospital.
Yeah.
This is how it happens. So if we could make this, and we could deliver. Important is not making. Important is to deliver the requirement. So if it delivers the requirement, then comes the cost factor. See, India is a completely price-sensitive market. So we have to think about to whom are we planning to serve.
Yeah.
Are we planning to serve the niche? They already have so much of things that are available for them.
Yeah.
So my target is to actually target that particular segment who cannot afford all this particular thing. Such that preemptive measures can be taken.
Correct. And you're absolutely right in saying that the incidence of heart diseases and cardiac diseases is increasing by the minute, especially after COVID. And if we have devices which can reach, the entire population of the country, which is majority of which anyways cannot afford even basic services. So
yes.
It's amazing.
Because see, nowadays in all our electronic watches, we have those pulse meter and everything else. Yeah. Do we know the importance of that?
Yeah.
Are we going to the doctor to tell that okay, this is happening with me? And when we go, the doctor checks you, no, it's all okay. But that time when it happened, that is the important point. So your heart may be having a particular problem which is triggered by a sequence of events. But by the time you're going to the doctor, that event is gone.
Yeah.
But if we have something on the stethoscope that can be found out, and that is where the stethoscope, the most basic device that is used by a doctor, needs something in extra that enables the doctor to put to you, okay, there is something happening here. And the skill of the doctor is very important. Sometimes doctor sees the ECG, oh, it's all fine. The second doctor sees the ECG, no, there is a problem there. So 2 or 3 technologies brought together, it actually helps the doctor also to diagnose what is happening with the patient.
Yeah.
But I will say that I will add something with ECG that gives you better information.
So are you saying that an ECG won't be needed after your product, after the product is marketed and is
No,
started?
I won't say that. But if a person only wants to go for an ECG, can obviously go for an ECG. See,
Hmm.
ECG gives the electrical pulses, but that clubbed with that more information is provided, is generated. It will be obviously because ECG is the most basic part, like stethoscope, then ECG, then echocardiogram. Then we have cardiac camera and all that particular thing. In echocardiogram, we have 2D, also we have 4D also. In ECG also, that depends also, the ECG is not giving information, whether it was a three lead ECG or 5 lead ECG. That's why now the basic standard to actually get a diagnosis is 12 lead ECG. And we are
Hmm.
working 12 lead and plus actually.
Yeah.
Because that is also very important. But when person goes first to the doctor, and the doctor need to have confidence, okay, I want a ECG. So he needs another device. So ECG obviously is needed, but another device that will enable him to tell, okay, you go for echo or you go for ECG or you go for both.
Understood.
Doctors actually compare both sheets, ECG as well as the echocardiogram.
But how did your, so we've spoken about the kind of products that you've developed and, you were an application engineer, then you were a general manager overseeing design and development of electronic products. How did the evolution of your professional acumen lead you to your interest in ESG and in corporate governance?
See, first let us take about the ESG part. While I was the head of R&D or even as the development manager or as a deputy manager of engineering in all, I always wanted to get the best out of the people.
Yeah.
So, and the first thing a person has to do is to communicate. Sometimes what happens in the process of the whole day, some flares happen, and that happens fears between the managers, between the workers, between the scientists, between the engineers, everywhere. Now, as a person watching that whole thing from a distance, canteen is one particular area where you can get both of the people together and sit and discuss on a very lighter note. So the first thing is that you need to generate a inclusive participation of the team that will actually help in making the product better. See, end of the day, companies watch what? Company is not interested in whether how good you are. Companies want that a product should get developed. Okay, so people when are hired, they check what the IO of it. What is the intelligent quotient, the IQ of it. But as a manager or as a person who is actually handling, we need to find out what the EQ of it, the emotional quotient of it.
Yeah.
I give you a simple example. One person wanted to go for a particular, in my company where I was working in North India, for a wedding marriage ceremony. And why he wanted to go? Because somebody was coming there, he wanted to meet that person. And the days were of deadline. So I told him simple thing. You give me this, I give you this. Now he said, sir, if you want this, I want this is okay. I give the arrangement.
Hmm.
And then finally we finished prior to deadline. I said, okay, go holiday. Similarly, I tell you, 31st night, generally people actually want to celebrate with their families.
Yeah.
It's a common thing. And I actually told my team as the head of R&D, if you want a half day on 31st December, then I want this particular things to be completed by 30th evening. Such that 31st you are only going to sign off, pack it and send it. That's all. And literally the whole team of 42, they did it. That is how they felt the confidence in me.
And vice versa, I'm sure. You
Yes,
also,
very important it is because this should not be just blank words. This should not be just hollow words. If
yeah.
you don't deliver, it will never, they will never make it for you. Secondly, if you talk about social part of it, there had been always some of the other people wanted. I always need to talk to people or to my team down to the worker level. What are you doing? What have you learned? What are you doing? So I have actually groomed 6 or 7 guys who have just completed 10th to get into the 12th standard, who just completed 12th to get into graduation. Yes, they are still, some of them are still in contact with you, but then they are there. This sir, you told me us this thing, but then we were like, okay, how we will do, what we will do, we do not know. You even delivered help in terms of economic time. Okay, paid the fees, you pay me later, doesn't matter, but you go for the exam. You need to be making him free for the examination. Those, not just those, they're preparing of the examination days. So those all things have been all, because as per me, education is very important in life. Your job, present job may go away, but your education will actually tell you what to do next. You will not get deviated and diverted from your actual values, which education imparts onto you. See, education is nowadays, education is just becoming a part of degrees. Education is just not degrees. Education is about what you are taught, and your values get generated from that. That is the actual education. So now it is just like, okay, you become a 12th, you become engineer, you go MTech, and that is not called education. What you learn from life. So your degrees and your values should go head to head. We have seen, say, like people turn some saints after some, why? Because they have achieved, they've not achieved in terms of, but they have achieved so much of wisdom in life.
Yeah.
That they start imparting, because there's no point in only keeping it inside. I have been always the case that if I know something, somewhere is going wrong, I will not keep quiet. I'll go and tell, even though it's not part of my department, see, this was wrong, and this is wrong on your part of behavior also. Even I am wrong. 99% of the times I would say I'm wrong. And people have told me, so this is how I have got a chance to correct myself. I also give others to correct them.
Absolutely.
Because the person's growth should be only not in terms of money, also in terms of what is the social stature. How the person becomes inclusive in a house. If you have 10 members and you want to go for a picnic, and you would decide within the 5 members, and 5 members are completely in darkness, you end up in a mess.
Yeah.
Because the 5 guys really don't know, they might have their own plans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is how the projects fail in because of that. And that is the time I always say that even a person, when you ask at night 2 o'clock, कि Raju मुझे चाय चाहिए, on the intercom, he gets you a cup of tea. So that product is actually a success because of that Raju also, because when you wanted tea, he delivered it to you.
Absolutely.
So the credit goes from the top to the bottom, complete.
Yeah.
Not just the maker, not just the seller, not just the marketer, but even in that person also is equally important. And that has been my particular process of, like, see, this is how it is. Some people tell me, it kind of, you cannot be a brutal entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is already brutal. Market is already always brutal. But you have to a thin line between brutal and fatal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a thin line, brutal and fatal. You want to be brutal.
Yeah.
But you cannot kill the person.
Yeah. You have to take everyone along and correct.
Yeah, you want to push hard, but when the success happens, you want to also celebrate it with that person.
Correct.
Okay, this is the in cricket, in the game of cricket, the most successful captains are those who not only absorb the pressure, absorb negativity, absorb all the loss that happens, also celebrate and assign the accountability of the person. This was your mistake, that's why we lost this particular game. And taken it positively by the other person, also imparted positively by the captain.
Yeah.
Then and then only the team succeeds. Otherwise, the team cannot succeed.
Definitely. And it's great to see, how your visions, they extend beyond just the scope of work, and how you realize the importance of it also in achieving the overall objectives of the company, and, your own personal objectives as well. And I think that's such a integral part of having a good ESG practice. So I think it's very well thought of, your decisions and your journey in the fields of ESG and corporate governance. In all of this, what are the values which you are bringing along and you are bringing on the table?
Ethics. Ethics are very important in life. I tell you, in the present stage of competition and job hopping, reiterations in hiring is happening. I have found many people. I have been also been targeted that way. That I got a call from a competitor company and said, okay, you can join us because we know that you have resigned from that company, but we need this design what you developed in that company. I said, you don't want me. You want the designs. And the second company, I actually, and I was a part of to a certain extent, I also always to check from which company is coming. That's why presently internationally what is happening is you are not allowed to join a competitor. You have to sign a non-compete.
Correct. A lot of times in a lot of industries, you also have something called gardening leaves, which are given before a person can actually, if at all they want to join a competitor, if the nature of the industry is such.
Yes. So that is why I always worked in three different types of companies. So I have been like, I would say that, and that is also very important. When a person works, see, electronics is electronics, but then you have targeted small educational products, research educational products, then agriculture educational electronics products, and then completely marking, coding, printers. So you have complete broad view of what you can do. And as a person, I would tell anybody that never join the same field of product line second time because it doesn't help. A person gets saturated somewhere or the other, sometime or the other. It does get it. I tell you, it's just like in show business also. A person may be doing just stuntman type of jobs and doing the only fighting and then one fine day he finds, no, I'm getting saturated.
Yeah, you burn out. It's very
Yeah, it's
interesting
completely
because
burn out.
there are some industries and then there are some skill sets which are only applicable for one industry. But it's very insightful for me to know that the nature of job and the kind of skills that you have, it is applicable and it can be applicable across industries, as can be seen by what you've done.
See, I tell you one thing, manufacturing is a process.
Yeah,
The manufacturing process, let it be electronics industry, textile industry, packaging
everywhere.
industry, is a process. You have to put those particular exact requirements in place and
Yeah,
things will work. Namely, operational research. Whom are you communicating? How are you communicating? Market strategy development. What product you want to make? Whether you can, it is worth enough to make that product for the risk of now. I tell you, once I had read in one of the articles, the thing that, what I understood is like this: the big giants are drivers of the market, and we all are driven by them. So they are driving the market, and we are driven by the market. At that particular instant, initially, you leave yourself to be driven by market, but at certain point of time, you need to think how much time more you need to be driven by the market. Can I take a layoff and start driving the market of its own segment? When I started my entrepreneurial work, actually people that if my products are available in market, why should anybody buy your? Doesn't matter. But then people are buying it. So even if like 100 products are available, 150 people want to buy. So in terms of economics, what happens? There's a demand to supply differences there. So there's a chance of more another 50 people will need to buy another product. It is like that. You have to deliver in terms of cost. You have to deliver in terms of specifications. You have to deliver in terms of performance, and you have to also deliver in terms of service. The service is of two types, not just product service. You have to deliver in terms of the faith when the person buys a product, the faith in that product, and the faith in the product is developed only with the faith in the company. It is always a vicious circle. When you do not know me, you will buy a product. So when the product performs, you start developing faith in the product. And then when you tell another person, it actually leads to you have faith in the company.
correct.
It is always like this. We see completely other way around, but it starts about the first thing that you are selling into the market.
Correct. Absolutely.
And I tell you, market is such they are always ready to exploit. There are people who have actually crossed the limit of what we say the validity of the warranty and everything. Still, they will tell you, see, I will tell the market that your service is not good. Now you have to decide. You have to take a call. How much impact is that person telling is going to affect you? You cannot, if you have committed a mistake, that's why I said ethics. If you have committed a mistake in designing of the product, then you tell straight off, yes, sir, this particular product got actually wrongly designed, not for your requirement. We'll adapt it to your requirement. But if your requirement, your products are exactly the specifications that person, then where is the mistake? Try to educate. And if the person is still not ready to listen, then nothing can happen.
Correct.
I tell you, it's a marketing statement. One happy customer will tell another happy customer. One unhappy customer will tell another 9 people you don't buy the product from them. But then that is always there when it comes on the table. Okay, this is the product, but that customer is telling that it's not working. You ask that customer how is the person you are using.
Correct.
That is very important.
It's like how one bad apple is all it takes to
Yes,
destroy
I
the
tell you, might have heard of Osho Rajneesh. Osho Rajneesh was a faculty of lecturer of philosophy and psychology, both. Now, one fine day, he goes on in a class and he just puts a black dot on a white paper. And he asks everybody, what do you see? Everybody said black dot. You people didn't see the white chart paper. So that happens. And sometimes you need to obviously worry. Sometimes you better don't worry. Because it doesn't make sense. Because I tell you, a person who will find that, no, I will not accept your thing, I will not, you can't help it. But you have to give a chance to own self also, to the customer also, everything. So market is like that. The exploitation point of view, people who are getting hired, company tries to exploit them. People who are trying to get themselves hired, they also exploit. See, you want that, I can give you. I'm working for this competitor company with so and so products. And as me and in the board, I will say ethically it is not correct.
Correct.
Because if that person can do to that company for which you have worked for 1 year, 2 years and all, he can do you the next day. What is the use of that person? That's the first thing. Secondly, another ethical practice is if you are unable to score a goal in achieving an order, leave it. But don't follow malpractice. Never follow malpractices. That actually ends up in loss and loss ahead. When you are as a particular development manager, you are talking to all vendors. Never even seek for 1 penny of commission. Why? Because when you are as an entrepreneur, they will start leveraging that particular act what you had done while you were working.
Although it's very difficult to operate like that sometimes in a country which is known for,
No, it is possible. I never took a penny from anybody.
I have to say it's commendable. Very, very. I really
it is easy. Life is more easier that way.
I agree.
You go on hiding the things in the
And there's
books
no end to it.
everywhere.
Correct.
What is it? What is the fun in it? See, we have our brains to take tension of many other things. These type of things if you start taking tension of. Even like in compliances, it happens. You might miss a compliance, but never hide it from agreeing that, oh, this is a mistake I did.
Absolutely.
If this amount of tax is to be paid, it is to be paid. If this was a penalty to it is to be paid. No or later. But if you start doing that particular vicious, then it becomes a vicious circle. And then one thing the government agencies find when they start poking into second and poking into third, best is don't fall into that. So and you need to have ability to put your foot down. We have cases in front of us that how many things have been caught. Somebody kept a foot down and said, no, this is going wrong. I will not name any. There are so many cases happening.
Correct.
So there's no point.
Correct.
In falling into any kind of malpractice. Yes, there are chances of oversight. There are chances of miscompliance. There are chances by mistake things happen. That is because as a human being, see, I tell you one thing, not as only as a human being, when you're doing something, you're bound to commit mistakes. Nobody is perfect and no one is perfect. But when you commit mistakes, you should also accept that mistake and go for a corrective measure. You buy a product, you copy that product. I have seen when you buy a product, you literally copy that product. So there is infringement of the whole intellectual property.
Yeah.
They developed the product, you just buy the product, you copy the product. I say, just go one step further. fine, because you wanted to know how that product works, you bought that product, you copied that product, you matched the performance. Now, in that process of development, obviously there will be certain moments where you found, okay, this can be done better, this can be done better, you do that. So even if there is a fight for infringement of the patent or infringement of the intellectual property, you can tell, see, in your product this thing is done, in my product this thing is. So I have not copied. Performance can be obviously matched, but I have not copied the design of a product. This is very important. So as me bringing onto table is the ethics part. And in all parts, in design, development, behavior, market, sell, everywhere, ethics are most important.
It's amazing. I have to say, our conversation has been really, really thought-provoking today. I loved getting to know about all the products that you are into, and beyond just the products, how you spoke about how important it is to be, ethical and the value of integrity. It's very, 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 very nice to witness and very nice to experience it. Before we end the session, however, I would like to know how was your overall experience, with World Development Corporation and this initiative that we are doing. It is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and to inspire everyone else to make a network of like-minded individuals. So, what do you think about this initiative that has been started by and led by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the entire team? Would love to know your take on it.
Very, very important disease because. The issue is very important one, very noble one, I would say, because now when more and more corporates are coming up, you require a person from an outsider on the board. I tell you the beauty of a developer and an agony also. A developer will never agree that while developing committed any mistake, and it is the natural law of justice that you cannot invigilate yourself. So as a independent director or the non-independent director, as an executive director, non-executive director, if you are on board and you're watching it from a distance and you come to know, no, something is going wrong there, then you should have that thing into you that you need to tell that this thing is not happening correctly. Nowadays, as the compliances are increasing and the large corporates, was the first person targeted independent director.
Yeah.
So why did you not tell when you were in that particular board meeting when you found out this thing is happening? So this is very important. It's just like a watchdog. And if you can also contribute using your technology or using your experience, using whatever that you can do with, then it is a boon to either side.
Yeah.
Not only for the company, not only for the person joining, also for the nation.
Yeah.
This is extremely important. So this is a very important initiative they have started with, and I'm really happy with it. So it's going great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us also today. And lovely conversation. I wish you all the best for all your future endeavors, and I'm so sure that all your insights will inspire everyone around us and all our leaders in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.